see the whole world shaking, and you feel your heart is breaking. Take my hand, no hesitating. Oh, when you're just so tired of trying, all alone you feel like hiding. Together we'll keep fighting. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Feelings we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Can you see the sun is shining like a new hope? Feel it rising, coming over the horizon. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Feelings we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. There's no stopping.
Good evening. It's Saturday, April 2nd. It's 7 p.m. I hope you're all doing well. And we're back live again. This is our second week being back live after being in Facebook jail. Okay, but we're back. And we have plenty of podcasts. Been doing this for about probably going on 2 years now. And I am Chris Gargiulo, associate broker for eXp Realty. And this is my podcast of Real Estate with Mr. G. I'm located in the Hampton Roads area of Virginia. Some people will say Southeastern. My cities are Hampton, Newport News, York County, Norfolk, Virginia Beach. It's about 7 cities altogether, but that's the general area. Okay. So we have a good topic to talk about tonight, and it's very apropos because with the rising prices of single family homes, condos are looking as a very good choice to purchase. We're going to find out sometimes they're cheaper, less expensive, and they might be a nice choice or a nice option for a lot of people. But we're going to look over the pros and the cons of that to see, to weigh it out. It's not for everybody, but maybe tonight people might say, hey, I'm really going to consider purchasing a condo right now. Okay, so let's do a little preview of what we're going to talk about tonight, and then we'll go right into the conversation. So, um, um, I've had quite several purchases of condos. They're not the majority of the homes I have sold, but I've sold a good amount of them. And actually, when we look at some of the maybe not such great things about condos, there's a lot of items that are similar to buying within a property owners association. Okay. And sometimes even with the property owners association, when you're buying single family homes or townhouses that are a simple ownership, um, you will have uh, a governing body. Okay, so it'll be interesting because there'll be some uh, comparisons to a property owners association when we talk about condo associations. But what you purchase, I mean, what's more involved more, we'll talk about that now. Okay, so let's get up our graphic. All right. And there are several good reasons to consider buying a home. This is on my blog this week, real estate with Mr. G blog. And I actually have two articles that I'm going to go over with you. So this is a nice little one about if you're a first-time home buyer looking to break into the housing market, but struggling to find a home to buy, condominiums or condos could be a great alternative for you. Now, it's saying over here, exploring condos could add options that fit your budget. Now, in most situations, and the things I do have to clear up when we are making these analogies, in most situations, they will be less expensive. But when we get to more detail, I'm going to go into how they might have some overlapping goods and bads about it. So here's talking about supply changes is a reality that's going across today's market. Costs are going up in single family homes, especially if they're being renovated before sale or they are a new construction. Okay. But going down to here into this highlighted area, condos are generally more affordable because they come with less space. You likely won't have your own backyard, for example, and the interior tends to be smaller than the square footage of a single family home. And again, that's in most situations. I mean, someone could always find a comparison. Well, they'll find a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath condo might have bigger rooms than a single family home. Okay, we're talking in general. Okay, some condos who are they're in a condo development. Okay, that makes sense, right? But they're actually single family homes. They're not attached. They're detached, and you really have a small backyard. Okay, I have never seen a condo in my experience that had a very big backyard. But being that when you're in a condo association, even if the homes are detached, they're still close together. And that has been my experience. You might find somebody maybe in another state that's saying, oh, no, that's not true. In our condo development, we have a lot of land. Okay, but I'm talking about in general. Okay, you would always find the exception. So you'll have a smaller backyard and maybe some other areas. Maybe you won't have such a big living room. Okay, but because of that, and you're paying less per square foot, all right, your house. Well, I shouldn't say less per square foot, but another house that had, let's round it out to 2,000 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, but yours is about 1,800. So you're paying less if you're going by the amount per square footage. You'll be paying less. All right. But If they're a little bit smaller, what they're saying in this article is that that smaller might meet your budget needs. And on average, for single family homes, the median price is 363, and for condominiums, the median price is 305, 400. Okay, because of perhaps the less amount of square footage, you're paying a smaller price. Again, you could have 3 bedrooms, you could have 2.5 baths, but the square footage of the rooms most likely will be smaller. Okay. Now, what they bring in here, not to mention buying a condo is a great way to break into the market and start building equity that can help power a future move up. What they're saying here, and let me just continue with that paragraph. The condo you purchase today may not be your forever home, but it can be a great stair step that can help you buy your dream home later on. And the reason why that's so important, because right now I have a lot of buyers, particularly younger buyers, who are really turned off. Let's do a close up on this. Okay. And they're really getting turned off with today's market because we still have a shortage of homes. And because of that shortage and the great demand, prices are high and there's a lot of competition for property. Like, for instance, the one that I have listed now, it's pending. Over the weekend, 2 weekends ago, we had about 7 offers. Okay. And I still had people, I put a stop on it showing. I still had people who wanted to show the property. So it could even been more. And when I told the realtors that did not have the winning client on it who got the contract, I could tell, by their emails and that text that they were very upset. And by the way, I suffer from that too. Okay. We're all, at times buyer agents. Okay. And the buyers are having a really tough time out there and they're getting discouraged. All right. And they might say, I'm going to wait. But if you could find an affordable condo, and again, it doesn't have to be your forever home. All right. We're going to find out, and I might as well bring it up now because it'll be in the PDF file. But it seems like a condo is like, it's from cradle to, later on in life, when the kids are all gone, right? And you don't need all those bedrooms, you don't need that big a space. Then older couples, seniors like myself, okay, will go into a condominium because they don't need that big of a space. They don't want to, as we're going to find out, mow lawns all the time. They don't want to have to worry about a bad roof. They want to just relax. If they're fully retired, enjoy the condo, whatever events they have, which I'm actually jumping the gun. Let's go back to this. Okay. So that's why he's saying in this area, let me have to put my mouse here. That's why they're saying in this area, the condo you purchase today may not be your forever home, but it could help be a great stair step that can help you buy your dream home later on. And as we know now, as we're seeing home prices going up very strong from last year, and most likely what you buy today will also increase in value. So might as well build up a little equity. All right. The 4 or 5 years you might stay in that condo, if you were still renting, that money just goes out the door. Okay. You don't build any type of equity in there. And you're not getting the benefit of a tax deduction on the interest payments. Now, here, where it says find out if the condo living is right for you and hate to mow the lawn and trim the hedges, what about pressure washing your driveway? Are your finances such that having to lay out $5,000 or more for a new roof will be a burden? Condos tend to work best for those comfortable with most of the aspects of apartment living, minus the built-in maintenance. Okay, so these items, when it comes to, and by the way, you really have to read over your condo association packet. All right. Once you have a ratified contract, the seller will send you the packet, and you have to read everything. Um, Most situations, if you have a front lawn, and I shouldn't say most situations, go by HOA packet, but there's a good chance that your front lawn will be mowed if you have no backyard, or if you have a little backyard. Of course, most likely that's going to be enclosed. They usually have a privacy fence. You would just have to take care of that. But they may pressure water pressure your siding, your driveway, uh, and these other things that you uh, would may have to do, not on a regular basis. Not everybody power washes their driveway, but when it comes to mowing the lawn, trimming the hedges, now that's being done for you. Okay, you have to make sure in your condo association that your roof is covered. Here they're talking about the roof. Um, uh, you might check to see what about the HVAC system. Is that part of the condo that they take care of? All right. So in general, just say a lot of these maintenance items are taken care of you through the condo association, but you have to make sure what's covered with your HOA packet. Very important to read that HOA packet. All right. And always they say, ultimately, talking with an expert real estate advisor like Chris Cajula, Mr. G, is the best first step to determining if condo living might work for you. All right. And now what I wanted to do, I found another article, and it's from the website moneycrashes.com. All right. The pros and cons of buying a condo. Is it worth it? And this is by Heather Levin. Date was actually not too long ago, last month. Okay. And I'm just going to go skim through this. I mean, basically, again, in this highlighted section, for the aging baby boomer population, which I fall on that, which is they're starting to downsize, right? Their kids have moved out, they're married, and you say, I don't need such a big space right now. I don't need to heat this big house or cool this big house and pay expensive real estate tax. I'll consider about moving into an option into a condo, right? Buying a condo can be a great option, whether you're starting a family. Okay, if you're newly married, don't have any kids, or maybe just have one, and you are, you might just stay at one, you might have all, but you're saying in the meantime, as if we decide in another few years or so to have another child, then we'll look into buying a bigger home. Now let's go exactly what is a condominium, what this word that we say. A condo, which is short of for condominium, is a private residence within a larger building or community. Now, when you're in an apartment, you have a private residence, but it's leased. You do not own it. Condos share common areas with all the other units in that community. These common areas can include a fitness center, pool, manicured grounds, for the kids to go play. They could have tennis courts. You get into a really nice one, they might have horse riding stables. Okay. And to have all these nice things, these local, these common areas, you have to pay a monthly dues, which are your homeowner association or condo association dues. So it says condos can be townhouses that are attached on one or both sides to another unit, or they could be in a larger building and surrounded by other units. We actually have both. I've sold both. One was in a larger development, a larger structure that had several units within it, but the rooms are big inside. The way I remember it. Okay. So as I said before, it's less maintenance. You don't have to worry about doing the lawn. Perhaps, okay. Again, check your homeowners association. They may cut the grass and maintain the grounds, fix the roof, and shovel the snow, and you don't have to worry about finding someone to replace the siding. They say if you're a first-time home buyer in poor health, busy with work, like to travel, or you just don't want to deal with all those chores, okay? You don't have to be sick. All right, you can say, I don't want to deal with this. I work hard. I come home. I want to go swimming in my pool that's there. And a lot of times they'll have the pool and have the clubhouse right there. And you go up and you have, I once saw a really nice one that had a bar that, was extended into the pool area. So you could swim up to the bar and the bartender could give you a drink. So some of these are really, really nice. Okay. That's a good thing about it. They talk about security too, because some of them are in guarded or gated communities. Okay. I'll give that in. Not every condo association has like a gated community, or a fence around it. They may have local security offices going around. They might have that. Not every condo, again, like I said, is a gated community. But what's really nice here when we get to amenities, you may have a pool, you might have a fitness center. They have maybe different activities. A lot of times with when they say Wednesday night games at the clubhouse, there are some condo developments that are 55 or better, or 62 or better. We have to use that term now, or better. Okay, so they may have more activities than your common regular ones, and ones that are geared for those who are 55 or better, or 62 or better. It's always something. All right, okay. Let's get back to here. Let me just see if there was anything. Okay. And affordability. We talked about that. It's less in price. And here they give the terms. The average of a selling price for a single family home hovered around 260. Condos were 248, 200. All right. Appreciation in this article, it said they usually do not appreciate as much as a home, but this is a survey taken from the Washington Post. Reports that the market value for condos rose 38.4% between 2012 and 2017, while the values of single-family homes only rose 27.9%. Okay, so they are appreciating in value. Proximity to city life, Norfolk. That's really the when I say city, that's because like Virginia Beach is considered a city, but Norfolk is part of Hampton Roads that really looks like a city with tall buildings, concrete sidewalks, stores. You see a lot of that in Norfolk, and close to that downtown area, there's a lot of beautiful condos that they made. All right, so if people work in the city, they just have a short ride. They even have a light rail in Norfolk. Either they take that or they take a bus, and they're at work. Now let's look at the downsides of buying a condo. There's always a good and a bad, right? So of course, yes, you have a homeowners association fees, and then you have the homeowners association fees, and that's maintaining and managing all these things like the pool, the fitness center, the security system if it has one, the maintenance crew. and you have to pay for that. And that is this. I'm going to say condo association fee because that's what we basically call it here. Okay. Now, what happens though, and this is the tricky part, because we've been saying that the condos are less than the single family home, but at times you might have uh, a condo association or an HOA that has quite a large monthly fee. All right. The ones I basically see around here, they're usually under 100, but I've seen as much, especially on the Virginia Beach side, HOA fees being around 250. I would say from just about 200 and going up. All right. Here, they even give the example of going to like $331. Okay. And what happens when you have all of a sudden the condo fees going up, and keep in mind, your mortgage loan officer, when they qualify you for a mortgage, they have to take in account the association fee as well. Okay. Because you may be approved for, uh, let's say, let's just round out to $200,000 mortgage, but when you work in the association fee, and if that's like now $331 a month, that may knock you out for an eligibility for that condo unit. All right, now you've been knocked out of pricing because your monthly payment will be too high. You're not approved for that amount. So that's why it gets a little tricky when it comes to the HOA fees. And we say in general, condos are less expensive, but then you really, really have to look at the monthly association fee, and your mortgage loan officer has to see if you are able, if you're going to be approved for that amount, okay? Because that actually is going to increase. I mean, they probably see it as a debt, and most likely, yeah, they would see it as a debt going out, and they have to make sure that you can make that payment. All right. So let the loan officer know. Well, they will ask for that. They'll say if it's what you want to purchase, the condo fee. Well, what is the association fee? So that will automatically, if they look at that, they say, well, right now, let's say your monthly payment just for the mortgage itself was $1,000, and you've been approved up to $1,100 per month, right? But then if you all of a sudden you have to pay an extra $250 in monthly fees, then you're knocked out for being eligible for that unit. Okay? So you have to really look at that closely. They talk here about potentially mismanaged funds because you have your basically your operating account, right? Every HOA has two types of accounts: an operating account and a reserve account. All right. So the basic operating account is for your regular maintenance costs, but you have a reserve account for long-term projects, such as resurfacing the parking lot, replacing the fence around the community, or building a new playground. All right. So there's a reserve account. But at times as well, they may need to. We had that. Now, we're not in a condo association, but we're in a property owners association, and they had to redo the fence that goes around the property, but they didn't have enough money, so they had to raise the monthly amount. It wasn't for forever, but to make up this deficit in the reserve funds. Sometimes these funds, whether it's the operating account or the reserve funds, are not managed properly. Okay. And it's something, well, this lack of funding is common. According to the study conducted by the Association Reserves, a company that helps community associations manage their funds, up to 70% of all HOAs are underfunded. So you could read about the financial health of the association when you receive the condo packet. All right. And they may report times where they were underfunded and maybe had to increase the monthly amounts. Here they say lack of privacy because you're close together. Some people that might bother. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. Being close to each other, it's not not a problem. Living right next to each other. For some people, it may be. All right. Now, delinquency. If people struggling in that condo association to pay their dues, now even the operating fund is going low. Uh, there may be an increase in your monthly fees to cover that deficit, even though it's not your fault. Difficulty in selling, again, condos are very, in other words, as we're talking right now, condos, meet certain needs, but it may not be a need that everybody has, right? So most people will go look first to purchase a single family home before they consider a condo. All right. It's not always the case. And you have people, condos are selling. But again, just to keep that in mind. Second, and this is something we just went over, if your HOA demands high dues, this will price some people out of buying. We just went over that. Okay, so all of a sudden they get knocked out of the woods. Now, this one I actually highlighted in a different color because this is what happens. This is very important. The financial health of your HOA will also be a factor for buyers taking out a mortgage. Many lenders won't approve a loan if there's a pending litigation against an HOA or if an HOA doesn't have sufficient reserves. Also, if the community has a high ratio of renters, some lenders will deny the loan. All these issues can further limit your pool of potential buyers. So this is the big one. If a community has a higher ratio of renters, so if there's 51% rented or more, many type of loans like FHA, I would have to double check with Fannie Mae, but they will not do the loan, meaning that it's too risky for you to only put down 3.5% or 3%. 3.5% is FHA, 3% is Fannie Mae. So you may have to go with a loan where you put down maybe 5%, maybe 10% down. I'm not going to just say it's usually 10%. You might have a loan officer out there that has a mortgage product that you could just put down 5% with a condo association that's more rented than people who are dwelling there, who are owner occupants. So, again, this is both for the buyer and the seller. If you're buying, you have to find out, and you have limited amount of funds to put down as a down payment. Your mortgage loan officer should be able to find out if that condo association is approved by FHA and Fannie Mae. And if not, then you have to buy with from 5 to 10% down on and depending on as I talk more about it, depending on the health of the condo association, it might even be higher. Okay. And that goes the same way when you get ready to sell it. If it's still having any type of deficiencies, or if it's still more than 51% rented, you may have a little difficult in selling it. Okay, most people in this area, they're either going with FHA, Fannie Mae, and then we also have VA. The VA would have to see too, the loan officer would have to see if VA would purchase within that condo association. All right, and the other thing, this is actually going a little bit longer than I want, but I just want to say one more thing. And I could actually close this out here. The other thing with HOAs, they may have very, very strict rules. And I had a client pull out. It wasn't a condo association, but it was a property owners association because the restrictions were too severe. So they told you how many pets you could have, how many people you could be visiting at one time. Especially with this one association was about the amount of cars that could be parked out in front. And this young lady had a lot of family that would come over and visit. And she was approved. We got past the inspection, it was all right. And she said, Chris, I can't live here. I'm sorry. I know you worked hard. I know you did your all, but I just can't live in this association. And actually, when you receive that packet, and once you receive it, you have 3 calendar days to review it. And you have to read it. You can't just put it on your coffee table and use it, to put your coffee and drinks and iced tea drinks on top of it. You got to read it. And this young lady did. And you might say, I can't live under these rules. There's one association out here, they tell you you can't use dark color drapes in your rooms, okay? So even though it's not outside the drapes, they're inside, but it has to be a lighter color. And that might not be, hey, you might say, who are they to tell me how to decorate my home? So that's where you have to really read those packets, okay? All right. Okay, we're going kind of long here. I'll still show this video here, kind of like summarizes what we talked. It's actually made for like a TikTok video. It's a little elongated. I'll play anyway. It'll look a little funny. Okay, so that kind of, I was a high school teacher for 21 years, and you always end with a summary, and I hope that brought out the points that I brought up before in when we went over the PDF files. So that's all we'll talk about tonight. I'm hearing from my my producer, William Burgess, that we have a celebrity that's actually on his way to the studio. Is that correct?
Great news. We have a famous celebrity headed to the studio. This famous comic book actor is a 1960s American live-action television series based on the DC comic book character of the same name, with his partner, two crime-fighting heroes who defended Gotham City from a variety of arch villains. The show was known for its camp style, upbeat theme music, and its intentionally humorous, simplistic morality aimed at its largely teenage audience. This included championing the importance of using seat belts, doing homework, eating vegetables, and drinking milk. Ladies and gentlemen, the Batman.
I'm sorry, we're running out of time. William will have to speak to him, to the Batman. It's great seeing him again. But that's all the time we have for right now. So be kind to each other. If you haven't been vaccinated, please get vaccinated. And remember, the greatest power we have is to love, and the greatest gift, each other. See you next week.